That puts a smile on your face, isn't it? A theme tune there of Get Out and Grow. The Happy Homesteaders are here. Thank you for joining us all over the world. California, Oregon, Portugal, and New York, I think. Yeah, Moaz. I think you're in New York, aren't you there, Moaz? Thanks for joining us. Let's go to those greetings straight away. Of course, the head gardener McGrady is with us, and Anna and John from
Hello.
Crew. How are you doing, guys?
Yeah, okay, to be honest. Survived storm. Was it to survive the storms anyway? I think there's been 3 this week.
Well, let's look into
7 days.
Yes.
So there was what was it?
Eunice.
Dudley. The Dudley was the first one. Then there was Eunice.
Dudley.
And then
Franklin.
Just over the weekend there was Franklin as well. Yes.
And Gladys is to come. Now, somebody said to me, Deagle, who is here. Thank you very much. Cup of tea just in. Evening all. Been a dry 3 months in Belfast, but the last 10 days heavy rain due to 3 named storms, and John named them there. And the next one to come, a 4th, with snow. Gladys is due on Thursday. And I thought he was winding me up when he said there was a storm called Gladys, because I'm thinking of an elderly lady with no teeth, possibly. Doesn't sound very threatening, but it's true.
Was that
Gladys? Go on.
Was that from Belfast?
A Deagle is in Belfast, yeah.
Yeah, well, I heard that they've got a unique way to deal with the water shortage in Belfast. Well, in Ireland generally, they closed lane 7 and 8 in the swim baths. Sorry, John. I know it's your jokes, but I'm still lit.
Dear, oh dear. Let's go to Deagle's garden now. That's if he's still talking to us. No, that's Louise's garden. We'll come back to your garden, Louise, in just a moment. And I was going to show no, not that either. That's a Cataplana from the Algarve this morning. Hold on a minute. Where are we? Here we are. Here's Deagle's garden. And we have got there we go, with your comment in front of it. A few daffs showing and a nice gnome there. Lee, not a fan of the gnome because you have to move these sorts of things, don't you, Lee, when you're doing your strimming and lawn mowing. But I think that works well in the corner of Deagle's garden there. And a few, these have got names. Oh, the kids' names are on there and the grandkids, I think. So a few bulbs showing, a few daffs showing there. And where else were we in your garden there? Oh, this one. That's your most fulsome and fertile pot at the moment there, Deagle. Thank you very much for your lovely pictures this afternoon. Thank you, Louise, as well. We'll come to yours. Oh, look, more gnomes. He's got sent in this morning, but I thought you'd like to see him, Lee, as well. Drunk gnomes around the fire. He's not happy about that. Okay, who else is here? Baldilocks is in California. Hello. How are you, Baldilocks? And the OLP. Hello, everyone. Any pictures from you today, OLP? And what about you, Baldilocks? I'm not sure you've sent us any pictures. 913-590-303, the number to send in on WhatsApp. Go on, John.
I was just going to say, the gnomes we just saw there don't have a gnome to go to at Lee's house then. Lee's garden.
It started. The bad job.
He's off the mark. Boa tarde, mon amigos. Bit of French-Portuguese hybrid language there. Very good. And boa tarde to you as well, Pete, in central Portugal. Louise is here with the boa tarde a todos. And I think we need to go to your pictures then. Thank you very much. All pictures welcome. Love sharing pictures. And here we have this system here with the lovely, what would they be called? Nestling planting box planters. And I think you've set up a little irrigation system. Do you like these, Lee? I mean, these are prone possibly to a little bit of drying out. Those ones that stack. And
I quite like the cascade potting systems because they're good for watering. They're great for strawberries and hanging plants. So yeah, they definitely have the place in a garden. I quite like them. Yeah, and they're great for space saving as well, for small balconies, small patios. You can get a lot into a small space.
By going upwards, vertical. Okay. And Botard Amigos from, I think, L. Blackman Reynolds and Paul, Louise and Lottie coming from the same household there. And here we see a picture of some good old cabbage. And I think there might be, are those potatoes there as well? And a nice looking irrigation system in there to save all that back-breaking watering in central Portugal there. And another lovely picture from you. Look at this. This is the spoils of harvest, I think, from last year. Let me just see what Louise has to say about this. Let's see. Botad Carl, we helped our neighbour pick and press his grapes in September. Our reward arrived at our back door today. Life in Portugal, folks. 5 litres of red for our gardening efforts, and more to come when this bottle is finished. That's a miracle. So you picked, oh, I see. I thought you picked the olives and it turned into wine. You picked the grapes, of course you did. You picked and pressed the grapes in September, and there it is. 5 litres of red for your gardening efforts there. Fantastic. And more to come when you want it. The other picture I showed you, top of the horta after winter weeding, showing from top right. We'll go back to this. Broad beans, a.k.a. fava beans. Broad beans, peas, calabres, onions, and cabbage. So let's have another look at that picture as just described. There you go. Thank you very much indeed, Louise. Any other pics, do send them in of the gardening, 913-590-303. And any questions that you want to ask us, do please ask them, starting off with one that Anna has for us right now.
This one is a two-part question. I'm not quite sure which one will be the best one to request first. There's a one which needs a year's worth of ideas. We've got a request for a whole gardening calendar, please. What to plant when in central Portugal if things need potting beforehand. And the second one is good hedgerow plants that are bushy and green all year round, will take the summer heat and will keep privacy.
Right, well, let's take the second one first. The hedgeways, it's really predictable here in Portugal. I'm going to say the Eugenia. The reason I say that is because it needs very little water. It's quick growing. We have one that borders between this garden and the neighbour's garden, and it's no more than 13 inches wide, and it's a complete screen. You can't see through it. They're really easy to maintain. So as far as evergreen hedge plants go, Eugenia, and they race away, but easy to maintain at any height you want. Back to the first question, it's really difficult to give a calendar per se. Just can't look at some pictures there for the Eugenias. It's a pretty enough hedge. I quite like it.
Yeah, I'm assuming that woman on the bottom right-hand corner is called Eugenia as well. So there's a mixture of Eugenias to look at on the screen right there. There you go. Thank you very much, Lee. Good tip.
Going back to the calendar, it's really difficult. Well, it's virtually impossible to answer. Because we have so many microclimates and the weather's always changing here in Portugal. This year is completely different to last year.
Yes.
This time last year we were swimming, and now we've not had rain or a proper rain for getting up for 7 weeks, 8 weeks maybe. And we've had one and a half days rain in 7 weeks. So trying to give the idea for a calendar is virtually impossible. The only advice I can give is the same as I always give: to look at your neighbours, see what they're growing, and try and test for your first 2 years. At the moment, it's the end of the brassica season, coming on to the start of the soft seasons. So, as a general overview, you should be looking at, your onions can be, if they're not already in, they should be going in now. Starting your perpetual lettuces, starting the spinach. It's coming up to the end of starting peas from seed, but get them in. Peas and beans, still just get away with it now. But best advice as ever, look at what your neighbours are doing, look what's for sale at your local cooperatives, because they're selling the stuff that's right for the season in your particular area.
There you go. And
I think I sound like a broken record sometimes saying it, but it really is the best advice. It's the truth. So
it's perennial advice, isn't it?
Yeah. It's seasonal. It's what we do. So
yes.
Another pub there, Cal. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah,
you're okay. Evergreen advice. Evergreen advice. And I think something went across John's mind as well while you were talking about perpetual lettuce. Because I was thinking, if it's perpetual lettuce, why'd you have to plant it? Surely there should be some left from last year.
Well, the problem is it gets to the end of the summer and it dies off completely. You want to use that space for your winter crops, so you remove it, and so then you start again. But it grows so quickly. I mean, from seed to your first harvest could be as little as eight weeks.
Oh, not too bad.
Oh, it's really quick, and that's giving it time to develop into a proper little bush before you start picking. Mine have been in for 6 now, and I wouldn't pick them yet. I'll give them another couple of weeks to start picking at them. But the more you pick, the more they come through, and they'll last right the way through till sort of the end of October.
Yep, I've noticed that Mrs. M's lettuces are doing beautifully. I mean, just 2 or 3 wispy little leaves per plant, and now they're really nice and bushy, and you can go and, as you say, pick a few leaves and let them keep growing. Fantastic.
Did you start them? Did you start them from seeds, or did you start the plug?
They were plugs. They were plugs from the agrilogia, so
cheap and so much easier.
Yeah, and I mean, it's such a. I mean, how many people have bought a lettuce from the supermarket and eaten the whole thing? That's the beauty, isn't it, of having of plucking it and foraging in the garden. You just take what you want each day, wash it, and use it. And when you buy it from a supermarket, you end up chucking a lot of lettuce away, don't you?
Well, and the thing is, you buy it from the supermarket on the Monday. By the Wednesday, it's lost its crispiness. It's 3 days, 4 days, even in the fridge. It's gone.
Yeah.
If it's in the garden, you got to get it when you want it. You wash it, go straight on the plate, and it cost the plugs. I think the plugs at our local cooperative, if I'm remembering correctly, I think it was 15 for €1 or 13 for €1.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's nothingness. For €1, you've got a full summer supply of lettuce. And come the real hot weather, it'll be on every plate. We'll use it every day.
Yes, indeed.
It's the same. It's the same with the spinach, because I've got my lettuce and spinach are next to each other. So when I pick it, I'll pick it and mix them, and it's healthy, organic, and it's on the doorstep.
Beautiful, beautiful. And actually, if you can go to the effort as Pete's done here, 20 plugs €1. Look at that, a Fundal market for lettuce, beetroot, and cabbage. Get down there, folks. Come and get your lettuce, beetroot, and cabbage, girls. 20 plugs €1. If you put some compost in a pot, you can be growing that, can't you? And just, as you say, pinching and plucking out the leaves you want on the day that you want to use them. And it's a really good intro into a bit of gardening at home, maybe on your balcony or in your garden.
Especially with lettuce, because they're so shallow rooted, and the spinach as well. The spinach and lettuce are so shallow rooted that you can do them in a plant pot on the balcony. I mean, you're restricted how much you can pick at them, but if you get a big enough trough, you should be fine for a harvest every 5 to 7 days, especially in the height of summer when the weather comes out. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Pete. Fundale Market sounds great. And from Louise, just dug over one of the horters today, ready for 60 onion plugs to plant tomorrow. It was a hard digging job, out a year's worth of wood sorrel. Come across that, Lee?
We've talked about wood sorrel in the past. It's the one that looks like clover, that comes up really quickly everywhere all at once.
Oh, that's it. Right. Okay.
When you pick it, it tastes just like apple. It's really nice. I love it. I love it. It's a weed, but I love it. Yeah.
And it's that your little yellow trumpet flower. That's the one.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, is that not? This looks like Louise has dug it out. Can you not dig it in as a manure?
Well, you don't have to dig it in because it grows bloody everywhere. It is here in Portugal. It's a really invasive weed in your shrub beds, in your flower beds. Once it gets in, you struggle to get rid of it.
All right.
For the first year in this garden, I was just raking it every Monday, just going at it, raking it through. And I finally got rid of it this year. But yeah, it's been a struggle to kill it off.
Okay, and there it is. There's the look of the thing, the wood sorrel, and that leaf is. I mean, be careful with any foraging you do, but you say that tastes like apple, and that's nice in a salad as a salad leaf. Yeah,
and if you'll know it's the one, because if you rub it up in your hands, it actually smells like apple as well, and there's nothing else quite like it. Once you've sussed it, you'll spot it every time. Yeah,
beautiful, and it comes in other colours, white and lilac there as well. But there's the yellow wood sorrel. Thank you.
The yellow
Louise.
one is one we predominantly get here.
Okay, that's the one we tend to get in Portugal. Louise also saying it is a salad, salad leaves and spinach that we see in the tiered planter, and they are grown from seed, so we better show those again. Thank you very much for sharing. There it is, salad leaves and spinach in the tiered planter, and a nice little irrigation. And presumably, Louise, when you water that with that little pipe there, it cascades down through the pots and that takes care of everything there. Very nice indeed. Thank you very much.
I wouldn't imagine it cascades over the top. I think it just soaks through the middle. If she's got a watering system right, it'll be in the middle and it'll just soak through down maybe a tube full of stones or a tube full of wood chips in the middle, and it'll slowly soak through and irrigate into all the different sections. Yeah,
because you don't want it overflowing, do you? Because that'll take the nutrition out. You just want it to maybe come through the bottom through a sediment system.
Yeah, and if you overwater stuff like that, you end up with a mess on the floor underneath the tray. So, to minimise it, you want to minimise your watering.
Okay.
But maximise water by having the right irrigation system in it to start with.
All right. Something about the prolific nature of wood sorrel. 6+ bulblets. Each of those will grow as well. So that's. Yeah, I don't think Louise too happy with wood sorrel this evening. Is it poisonous to eat wood sorrel? So, Deagle, I think that might have come in a little bit before the comment there. Some foragers do use it as a salad leaf, and it's got that appley taste that Lee's talked about there. But, you only eat something like that if you're absolutely sure. Get someone to show you. We grow an interesting type of green that's called longevity spinach. Not really a spinach. It lasts so much longer and is a superfood. Can we have a picture, please? I'm going to you, Oregonians loving Portugal. We spoke of Storm Gladys, which might bring snow to Northern Ireland and the UK. They've already got it over there in Oregon. Here's a video sent in from the OLP. If you think the weather's a bit chilly here, just check this out. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. So there you go, Oregon, snowy over there. That's amazing. I can't imagine that. Can you, Lee, anymore?
My kids back in Rochdale sent me pictures on Sunday of it snowing in Rochdale. Big flakes.
Yeah.
And they were very excited.
Yes.
And I was sat out in the sun drinking beer in the afternoon, thinking, "This is a life for me."
Yeah, it's not like you at all. Yes, water from the top goes through the holes in each tiered planter. So just one more time, then a look at that for anybody who wants to copy that system for growing spinach and salad leaves. Looks great to me. Nice job. Thank you very much, Louise, for that. Who else is here this afternoon? We've got a few more hellos, I believe. I missed the morning show. It was a funny one. Yeah, it was a funny one because we had a comedian on who's learning to speak Portuguese. Amazing man, Tamakatan. He's doing material in Portuguese now. We were all very impressed about that.
I've arranged a night out with the lads for his comedy show in a couple of weeks in Lisbon.
Oh, excellent.
So listening to the show this morning, I messaged a few friends, and we're having a night out to go and watch him.
Oh, nice. We've got a Portuguese joke for you. Thank you to Thunderduck, who's almost here. Not almost here, who's also here, probably almost here. Hello, T-Duck. Thank you for joining us this evening. He said this morning, the Portuguese magician, he said, dois, and poof, he disappeared without a trace. That is a class. That is a quality joke, I think. Thank you. I heard it
this morning. It weren't funny then either.
First frost-free morning this morning, says Pete. Can really crack on with planting out his plugs now. So that's good to know, isn't it? Could it become frosty again, or do you think he is safe now in central Portugal, Lee?
I think he's pretty safe now. I think he's good to go now. I think our next big problem is going to be the April showers, if and when they come. Because I think a lot of people have been preempted it and jumped ahead of themselves, and they might get a surprise when everything washes away or gets drowned. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
All right. Botar from Pennsylvania for a few minutes at least. Ubi, great to have you here. And Pedro Gomes as well earlier on with the Botar Aturos. Beautiful gumpers. And a lot of chat going on between the gumpers, which is great. Baldylocks and Moaz there. Suzanne Derringer also here. Good to see you. And a Botar from Virginia. How amazing. Carl. Hi, are you in Aveiro? Says Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Not anymore. I moved out of the Aveiro district and now on the wonderful Silver Coast, Cindy. Do get in touch. Just have a chat. And I'd be very happy to tell you about either district, Aveiro or over here on the Silver Coast. If you forgot, I'll let you do this, John.
If you forgot to let Anna know about your questions or have only just thought of one, let us know here, especially as head gardener Lee McGrady really does know his onions about gardening.
How long have you been waiting to do that, John?
Fairly good, John.
It's a while, to be fair.
Did you have any more to say about the storm? Because it was your idea that we mentioned.
Yeah, I know. A couple of us posted. I think you posted something as well, didn't you, Anna? About it. You posted an article about it in the week as well.
I think I did. Yeah, I just sort of posted anything up that people might find useful. So yes.
Yeah, I just thought it might be quite interesting thing to talk about, as it's sort of current affairs of gardening and just general stuff with gardening, because obviously it will affect how gardening happens, and you might have to start working some more on what you'd already worked on or something and things. So yeah, just because it was particularly brutal, as we can see from the news and so forth.
Yeah, too true. Funny thing is, though, the media really excited. Go on, Lee.
One of our regular listeners, Dee Dee, she's back over in the UK. Well, I think she's back in Portugal tomorrow, but she was in the UK for the storm, and it damaged a couple of big trees in her garden where they had to get a tractor in and 2 guys with chainsaws to tidy it up.
Wow.
So it made a bit of a mess of their border, their garden perimeter. Yeah. Yeah, took some big, what look like ash trees. She sent me some photographs and a little video.
Okay, for our UK friends, though, look at this. I think the media like to stir this up, don't they? Because they're talking about Dudley, they're talking about Eunice and Franklin there, and Gladys might be on the way. The UK weather warnings, though, it's still too early to call. And I think it might be a quiet news day or a nice change from whatever else. And there's plenty going on in the UK, let's face it. But no warnings from the official source there, the Met Office in the UK. So let's see. Let's not panic unnecessarily, but always good to be prepared nonetheless. So thank you for that heads up, though, John. Excellent stuff. Just a quick note from Pete that not all they sell is right to plant. Oh, okay. So bought some lime and lemon last month at the market and need to wait another month or two before planting. Yeah. Hence, dead trees there. Go on, Lee. What's he talking about there?
Well, I've mentioned this a time or two before on the podcast. A lot of the supermarkets and the bigger garden centres will force the plants on for sale now, early. So if you go to some of the big retailers, they'll have summer plants in, and it's just not the time. My winter pansies are still in full flower and looking fantastic. But I could go to the garden centre now and buy begonias and geraniums for the summer. Just because they're on sale doesn't mean it's time to put them in.
Okay.
Where if you go to your cooperative, they're kind of a bit more on the ball with the seasons. So don't rush for your summer bedding yet. We're still in the depth of winter. Might not feel like it, but we are. So I'm back with your summer bedding. I'm back with your summer jobs. Just because we're having a nice bit of weather here in Portugal doesn't mean you should dash your head and be buying stuff. I mean, the daffodils and the bulbs are on sale now. They're fine to buy. That's the time of year we should be buying them now. But the stuff like the sunbeam flowers, and I suppose the whips that he's bought would be okay to go in. But anything that's too small on a cane, just put them in shelter for a few more weeks.
Okay, so be careful. Just because it's in the shops or in the market doesn't mean it is time to plant it. And John, you've got a nice analogy, I think, for that.
Yes, it's exactly in the same way. It's not the right September.
Go on, say that again. I think we lost you halfway through that.
Oh, sorry. Exactly in the same way, it's not the right time to buy Christmas crackers in August or September.
Indeed.
Yeah, but the supermarket put them on sale straight after Halloween to encourage you to buy more come Christmas. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I see there's another question coming or something, hasn't there, Anna? I see there. So shall I let you mention that, and then we can try and...
Yeah, this one is from OLP. Does Portugal have an equivalent to the Farmer's Almanac?
Ooh, what is that?
The Farmer's Almanac is a very old traditional book, and it has the full moons, the half moons, and the seasonal planning. But I think we've discovered in recent years we've gone more to microclimates and the changing climate, but I think it's sort of killed anything like that off. There is one. There is an almanac for Portugal, but the one online is constantly changing, and it's district by district.
Is that the little magazine or little pamphlet that you buy that's got all the market days in it as well? I forget what it's called. Yeah. Okay. So there you go, OLP, and Eric's here as well from Mexico. Hi all. Did I miss something? Loads, Eric. But I dare say you may have questions yourself, so do pop those into the chat, and we'll see what we can do for you. I believe roses should do really well in Portugal. My roses survive Phoenix heat. I think they're going to be probably okay here. Then, would you agree there, Lee? Oh, he's frozen up. We'll come back to Lee. And yeah, I think
I frozen there. You know, I heard the question. Roses do quite well. I've just ripped my rose beds out and replaced them though, because I don't think they're as good as they could be. The plants were very old and they were very woody when we moved here, so they've been ripped out completely. But I have a few customers that have beautiful roses and rose displays. Yeah, they do quite nicely.
Great. Okay. A rose fan there, Moaz. And I would be really careful, says Pete. A little bit of a concern about the drought, obviously, this year. I would be really careful planting without irrigation. Even with irrigation, I was really not sure if the rain will come at all this year. Is it something you're feeling in your waters there, Pete? Pardon the pun. Well, but yeah, anticipation of a drought this year, right, Lee?
Well, you know that I had trouble last year on my veg area with the original irrigation that was in here, and I've spent the winter ripping it out and redoing it all. And I think I've got the timing quite right, because the way I did it was to minimise, even though we're on a well, so I don't need to worry about the cost of water so much. I've done it to minimise the amount of water that I use, and this year will be a real trial and error and see if I can get away with using the minimum water possible to grow the maximum yield. So irrigation systems here in Portugal are invaluable.
Yes.
But getting the right one to put the right amount of water into the area you've got is more important than just having one.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I mean, a lot of water definitely gets wasted, doesn't it? No question about that. Snow only allowed in Belfast, apparently, between the 20th and 27th of December. Rest of year, no snow. So there's Deagle standing up to Gladys, don't you, Gladys? And Lee, those flakes here are really big this morning too. Yes, I would love to be in Portugal. And T-Duck confirming he is here, but he's not all here. Thank you, T-Duck. None meant. Moaz, depends on the rose, of course, says Suzanne. When I worked in the Brooklyn Botanic Rose Garden, David Austin's English roses generally didn't do well with the extreme heat and humidity of the Brooklyn summer. So, yeah, find out again from your neighbours or your local community which roses work well, because that's obviously the right test for it in the actual environment. But roses like the White Nevada, bred in Spain, should be fine in Portugal. So there's a name to look out for, Moaz. You might want to write that down. There is a Portuguese saying that old ladies burn their carts, or is it their coats? Old ladies burn their carts in April due to a cold snap in April most years. Oh, I see. So to keep warm, they're burning their carts, not because they don't want to use them anymore. I see. Cold snap in April. Don't get carried away. Thank you, Louise, for that. I'm downsizing, as I think I will scrap Italian citizenship plan and go for a Portugal D7, keeping my rose books and a few herb books. They will come with me. A kindred spirit for this group there. Thank you, Suzanne, for tuning in tonight. Jason's here. Good evening, Jason. I put all my rootstock trees in big 50-litre pots and pop them in the shade polytunnel until around the end of March. Not taking any chances there. Beginning of April. I've just planted.
I had a chat with Jason this afternoon, a bit of a video chat with him, and his place is looking amazing again.
But he's
knocking it out of the park.
Oh, brilliant. He's so good at this stuff, isn't he? Deborah's planted green manure, and tomorrow I'm going to throw in some broad beans. It's like literally, or is that is just a turn of phrase there? I was still weeding in the dark, which wasn't that effective, to be honest. I'm in now. Tea. And I mean, it's so easy, isn't it, to get carried away and not to want to stop. I totally understand that, weeding in the dark, but there comes a point where you do have to stop. Moaz, no, not English roses. I was a member of the Phoenix Rose Society, and they had a list of hybrid teas and other. Why is it called a tea rose, Lee?
It's you just said it's a hybrid type, and depending on the rootstock, depends on what category it comes into.
Right.
Yeah, the rose fanatics are fanatical, and there are hundreds and hundreds of varieties with hundreds and hundreds of different rootstocks. Above my pay grade when it comes to stocks of roses, I'm afraid.
Okay, fair play. Just planted then and weeding in the dark. Thank you very much, Deborah. Good to have you here tonight. OLP at our local municipal council, it publishes a monthly list of what needs spraying and pruning, but not planting. Interesting. Oh, I found a freguesia. Some people are very concerned, aren't they, about the overuse of Roundup here in Portugal, Lee, and that they may be a little bit heavy-handed with the Roundup. Saw a freguesia that was claiming to be not using any herbicides over the weekend as I was driving around near Obidos. Thought that was quite a good thing to see.
Well, you know my opinion on herbicides. If you use them correctly and you do the measurements correctly, there's no problem with it.
Yeah, fair.
I'm not a completely green gardener. I don't ever claim to be. I use things sensibly in the right measurements, and there shouldn't be any issues with it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Thought I'd mention it. I saw it. So there you go. I sent a picture of longevity spinach. If I just take your comment out of the way, OLP, we'll see it a bit better there. I don't recognise that, and it doesn't look quite like a spinach, does it? Not the Espinafra sort of New Zealand spinach, or the one we're more familiar with from the UK. Another plant altogether, and a bit difficult. I'd like to taste that. I'd like to try that. And thank you very much for that, by the way, OLP. And Louise, roses do well in central, even with summer temperatures of up to 30 degrees. So thanks for letting us know that. Look, I love it how all the information comes in from different angles. Lee, for you, my wife is growing pak choy and chop choy, not chop suey, chop choy for the first time in cedars. They came up and are happy, 6 centimeters high, but she doesn't know when they can go in the ground. Any ideas?
The 6 centimeters high is a good plug. So I would say any time now. But again, we just talked about the weather. So I suspect the longer you can leave them to get away with, the better. Maybe aim for the end of or middle of next month. If it was me personally, I'd keep them in the trays as long as possible, but without letting them get pot bound, without letting the roots get too developed into the bottom of the tray. But that's easy enough. You can pull a small one out and check it and put it back in.
Is that a good sign in its own right that it is becoming pot bound and then it needs to get in the ground? Well,
the problem is when you start seedlings in a tray, depending on what size unit you're using. Yeah. When it comes to removing the plug, you don't want to damage the main root column of it, the main root stalk. So the timing's always a bit awkward. I can't giving advice over the internet's not the best way to do it. But yeah, if it's too root bound, then the roots will never develop properly when you get them in the ground. They'll never open up into the fan and widespread you want. They'll always stay in that clump, and that clump is then impossible to water correctly because you've got to water directly onto the plant. Yeah.
Very useful. Thank you for that. And just reiterating about herbicides and pesticides. Many home gardeners don't know how to use them properly, and they can cause a lot of damage. Now, that's the point you're making, isn't it? Used correctly, you're happy with it. But the problem is, I guess, when it gets in the wrong hands, there can be a problem. And you're meant to have a license here, aren't you, in Portugal?
I was. I don't know if I've mentioned this to you before. Back in the UK, part of my old job was to train people to do the test, to do the licensing test. So when I moved to Portugal, I had to do it in Portuguese. I had to resit the test, even though I was one of the, let's say, higher educated people in the UK about it. I had to redo the test here in Portugal. And I would be happy if they took herbicides off the market for the general population and just had them available to people that passed the test. I'd be happy with that.
That's a good idea, isn't it?
But then people at the council or your local councils, they would have to be qualified to use them. Therefore, they would understand the risks of overuse, and there wouldn't be the big problems that people seem to think that we have with them.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Suzanne.
And if it was unavailable to the general public, I'd make more money. So perfectly selfish, yeah.
Thank you for that transparency there. Thanks for the help, Lee. 6 centimeters should be fine then for the pak choy, bok choy, chop choy. We will check them and put them in the ground. And for your information, make sure they don't clump together in a ball when growing using the correct spacing. Good man. Thanks, Eric, for that question. Appreciate it. Deagle covers his plants in May and June most nights, even May and June in Belfast. Look at that, with a light plastic at night. So come morning time, the condensation gives some moisture to the plants and every little bit of water helps. Now, that's clever, isn't it?
And the great thing is, when I used to cover mine back in the UK, right up until probably the first week of April, if not into April, the water that makes the condensation on the plastic covers is warmed up by the sun by the time I've gone to remove it. So I'm putting air temperature water onto the plants first thing in the morning. And they really do appreciate that warm water rather than the cold rain. It makes a hell of a difference overnight. Yeah.
That's good to know. Good to know. Breakfast, the breakfast drink of plants, if you do that. Great. Thank you for suggesting that, Deagle. Now, last week, towards the end of the show, we played, we made mention of Happen Films and that lovely film that I recommended to you, Fools and Dreamers, and also then played the trailer for the new movie that they premiered recently too. Now, they were very pleased about that and said, thanks for sharing your link to the homesteading live stream and for sharing so enthusiastically about our films on there. What a great thing to be doing to get your community growing. Love it. And that was warm wishes from Antoinette. I think over there in New Zealand as well. Not sure, but a lot of the films seem to be based in the New Zealand community. So thank you very much for that, Antoinette. And I've got another video. I would like your view on this, everybody. Would you be prepared to take advantage of your own waste to produce gas for cooking? Here's a little movie to take a look at here. This is a biogas system, which I think is absolutely fascinating. Oh, that's snow. Beg your pardon. This is it.
Hi guys, my name is Michael, and I'm here with the new generation home biogas system that turns your organic waste into renewable energy. I'll show you how it works, and I'll tell you everything you'll get out of it. Let's jump right in. This is where you pour the organic waste. The system takes any kind of organic material, vegetables, fruit, and even meat and dairy, unlike composters. The waste goes down here into the digester where bacteria break it down to biogas. Once created, the gas goes up here into the filter, then down this pipe to the gas bag. The gas flows through this pipe to the kitchen stove. This is the stove that comes with every home biogas system. The flame you see here was created by my organic waste. The system creates up to 2 hours worth of cooking time every day, and of course, it's 100% renewable energy. Now let's head back out to the garden where I'll show you the second awesome byproduct of the system. Follow me. See this amazing vegetable garden? This liquid fertilizer, created by the home biogas system, nourished it and helped it grow to be this beautiful. I want to tell you about the upgraded features of the new generation of home biogas. In the new version, we unified the fertilizer outlet and the gas filter. It's much more efficient and is much easier to assemble. Also, the whole system is made of extremely durable material that has a lifespan of 15 years. We made it all black to absorb as much sunlight as possible so that the bacteria are more productive. We're also proud to say that the material is 100% recyclable. Here you can see our off-grid patent, the unique design of sandbags placed on top of the gas bag to create pressure for the gas to flow into the kitchen. For initial activation, bacteria is put in once into the system by using cow or horse manure from your local farm. It's an entirely closed system. There's no smell, so no way it will attract animals. Now let's talk about how to make the bacteria happy by finding the best place for the system to maximize your gas output. Make sure you pick a sunny location, a flat level surface. It's important that you have easy access both to the inlet and to the outlet, because accessing them will be a part of your daily routine. So that's the basics of how the home biogas system works. I hope I got you as excited as I am about converting your waste into cooking gas and fertilizer for your garden. Join the home biogas family today. See you soon.
Now that's a nice garden, isn't it? For one thing, I loved his planters and a little bit of pallet gardening with some herbs on as well. What do you think of that idea, Lee?
I think it's brilliant. It's not a new concept. I think what they've done is developed on an existing concept that other people have been doing for a few years.
Yes.
I kind of issues with the amount of gas he claims to get out of it. 2 hours seems a lot for a small gas bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the moment, any savings a bonus.
Yes.
And if the cost is right, then I can't see there being an issue with it for a small family.
Yes.
But as we've seen over the weekend, we've had the storms, we've had the cash machines here in Lisbon being out for 2 days. We've got the forthcoming wagon strikes. I think, if anything, the COVID and the hassle we've had since is going to teach us anything. It's being more self-sufficient has got to be the way to go in every way. So reusing your old waste to create your own gas has got to be a good idea if the cost of the original equipment is at the right price and bracket.
That's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yes.
You got. I mean, and a lot of these systems are prohibitive, aren't they, for people to get into, and that's how they get stuck on the supply systems of electricity and gas because they can't afford the investment. Now, interesting thoughts coming in. No way it would last 15 years in the Portuguese sun. Lol, from Eric as well. Would not survive the hot sun of Mexico. But it needs to be out in the sun, doesn't it? Apparently, so to stop it turning into a sort of slimy mess that doesn't produce gas, presumably. And Louise thought the same thing as well. How do you solve that problem?
Well, he mentioned in the video it needs to be out in the sun, so I presume they've got a plastic that has been tried and tested. But again, you have to take all the adverts with a pinch of salt. If you look online, you can find similar products that have been tried and tested for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Or maybe coming up with I know people that have built their own very similar, very, very similar layups as that one.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's lots of it's what YouTube's great for. If it's something that interests you, YouTube it, do your research, but always in the back of your mind, consider the cost that you're laying out and the longevity you're going to get out of it. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Thanks,
It's
Lee.
got to be cost effective.
What happens with the pressure inside the bag if you don't use the gas completely? I think it just lets off a little fart. Basically, there'll be a valve on there, won't there, when it gets to a certain amount, and I'm sure it just lets it out into the atmosphere. I certainly hope so. You don't want one of those exploding in your backyard, do you, when it gets too full? Was there another question around somewhere, Anna or John?
Yes, I did notice this one. I don't know whether you want to read this out, Anna, or shall I? Or
I just finding an answer for another question that just came in as well.
Shall I read this out and then you can do that and make it easier? I'll take that as a yes. So this is from a John Gibson. Any idea how long the tomato growing season is in the Western Algarve? So I don't know that myself. So that would actually be some interesting thing. Interesting to find out.
I've started. The Western Algarve is going to be very similar to the Lisbon area where I am, and I've just started my seeds this weekend. I'm possibly a little bit early, but I know I did. Looking back at my diary, I started this time last year as well, so that's what I'm going off. And I grew all the way through to October, I think it was, when I ripped them out.
Beautiful.
And I think I ripped them out a bit early as well. I think I could have got another week out of them, but I wanted to start redoing my beds completely, so they had to come out at the time. It's a very long growing season here in Portugal. Very long. But again, John, if you go to your local cooperative, they should just start getting the plugs in now. And if you ask them, if they've got 2 or 3 different varieties in, you can pick a variety for a quick grow to get you started quickly, and then you can pick a variety that'll go for a longer period of time but slower. So you'll get that staggered through the summer, different varieties of tomatoes growing at different times. So you'll always have tomatoes for the table.
Fair play. And John, understand if you have to leave. And also, if you let them go feral, is often the case in the Portuguese countryside, you're going to be finding fruit on them, aren't you? When you have a little delve inside the bushes, you're going to be finding fruit on them, as you say, right through to October there, Lee.
Well, I'm using the same tomato bed as I used last year. And the only weeds I had to pull out of the bed were tomato weeds. Tomato plants that were coming back up from the tomatoes that had fallen onto the ground and are now regerminating.
There you go.
So I could grow the plants that are regenerated from last year, but I have no idea what they are or what the individual plants will be or how they will flower. So I'm starting all fresh again.
Good luck with the growing season. A long one, I would say, John. Any time from about now right through to October, as you heard there. John, pictures, please, if you can remember us as well. Did we miss anything else, Anna?
OLP was just wondering if there were any pictures of the ladybird larvae. And I've managed to find this one. I can't get rid of the I can't get rid of any of the background stuff on there, but that's probably the most detailed picture I can find.
There you go. And that's what you can buy, right, Lee, to set free into your greenhouse.
Yeah, it's the
Thanks, Anna.
the small black one on the side is what you buy. It's more like a beetle before it develops into the bug itself.
All right.
Because they can't fly, you get a longer lifespan with them. So you buy the larvae, and then you've got time for it to develop into the bug before it flies away or starts biting you. They've also made great fishing flies. If you can tie a fly fishing fly, I always liked the daddy long legs and the ladybugs. They were always my favourite flies when I was a fly fisherman.
Wow. Remember where you
they
heard
do
it
really
first.
well.
That's slightly disturbing news. Okay, John, happy with that answer. Thanks. Great growing season. Yes. If you can remember to send us some pickies from your planting, that'd be great, John. And let's have this conversation again in October when you're still enjoying them. And Will Thompson is here, perhaps only briefly. It's a high and a bye, but worst drought in Portuguese history incoming. On that cheerful note, let's keep our eyes and ears open for water-saving techniques over these coming weeks and months, shall we? Because he might be right. The ladybugs look like larvae. Oh, the ladybugs look like lizards. Okay, yes. I think you're probably right. We may go further into that in the coming weeks, given our fondness for those particular creatures. Anything we've forgotten there? Anything that should be done in the garden in this coming week, Lee? Final thoughts, Anna?
In England, it's all tidying up and getting everything clean. All that bit of debris you've been leaving lying around, it's going to be full of snails at the moment. So clean out all your pots, give your greenhouse a nice wash down, get rid of all the snails and slugs that you've missed over the winter. Yeah. Great time of year in England now to be cleaning. And here in Portugal, you should be planting your veg. It should be starting now. You should be doing all your seeding, cleaning off your trays, disinfecting everything, ready for the oncoming season. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's go into disinfection next week.
I know Jason's with us as well, so I will just mention when you're in the garden, even in Portugal, you must wear your protective gloves all the time.
What did he do? I'm not going to show you that picture.
He put his hand in a shredder. He put his hand in his new shredder.
Oh dear. Okay.
Like an amateur.
In that case, he got off lightly. Great show tonight. It looked horrible, but you were lucky there, mate. Great show tonight, Obrigada, and from Pete as well. Thanks, Pete, for tuning in. Thanks, everybody. And Pete, everyone, great show. Nice one, everybody. Thanks so much for all your contributions. Really appreciate how this works here. Everyone chipping in. No reference to your accident there. To Jason, go steady, mate. Take it easy in the garden out there. I know you were just getting a bit excited. It was a lovely looking machine. It is a lovely looking machine, but I'm sure you're a bit more careful with it now. Not quite like that, but close. All right, fair enough. Thank you, everybody. And on that note, we will see you again next week. Thank you so much. And maybe talk a little bit about how to disinfect those seed trays for use next year. Take care. Bye for now. Thanks very much. Thanks, Lee. Thanks, Anna. And thanks, John, who's already gone.